Psalm 38 verses 4 and 9 say, "For my iniquities have gone over my head, as a heavy burden they weigh me too much. My wounds grow foul and fester because of my folly. I am bent over and greatly bowed down. I go mourning all the day long, for my loins are filled with burning, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am benumbed and badly crushed. I groan because of that agitation in my heart. Lord, all of my desire is before you, and my sighing is not hidden from you." Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 6-month reading plan through the book of Psalms, today's reading is Psalm 38, and I encourage you to read that psalm. Well, as you read this psalm, I'd like you to ask yourself a question. What do you feel about the sins that you commit? We as Protestants tend to take sin very lightly. We've been taught, and rightly so, that if we confess our sins, that they will be forgiven, 1 John 1:9. So we say things to God like we're sorry, and then we just kind of move on. But I think there may be a problem with that kind of action. I think that sometimes we become very, very flippant in our walk with Christ. We're forgiven, so we glibly ask for forgiveness, saying something like, "Father, forgive me for that." And then we kind of move on and live our lives. We don't normally think about the result of our sin. Now, the more we sin, the more hardened to sin we become. The more we ask for forgiveness without truly repenting, the more hardened we become. And the more hardened we become, the easier it is for us to repeat this process. But there is a way that we can stop the progress and begin to return to a more sensitive and repentful life. And that's by taking a good look at how much of a relationship we have with Christ. Now, our lives are very busy. If we have children or we are old enough to have grandchildren and they live close by, a lot of times will be spent with them. Now, I look at Tony and I and our children, and none of them have a life that is laid back. All of them are very busy at work, and they're busy or will be busy with their children. And when you add all of the other things to their cup, there's little time spent with God, and particularly to spend evaluating their walk or your walk with Him. I think that's why God has given us the Sabbath. He knew it was our propensity just to keep piling things on and eventually get so busy that we forget the reality and the really important things of our life. But it does not have to be that way. We can now record our television programs and look at them at a time that's more conducive to restricting the length of time we spend in front of the TV. We can train our children as we train ourselves to spend more time relishing our relationship with God through reading and prayer. Now, we demonstrate what is important by giving the most time to that task. Are we like David, where we are seeking a changed life, or are we hardened in seeking the bare minimum and still function as a Christian? And if you would like a PDF copy of this entire reading plan, please send an email to phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.